Before we start, I have a new book coming out. Doris Doodle is the story of a 1940s cartoon star trying to reclaim her fame in modern times. Find the book on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. Hi everyone, I'm Hasani Walker, and this is hopefully the start of some fun videos where I just muse about media I love along with things I'm working on. I'm putting together more things to post, including one series that may have something up by the time this video is out. If you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe. Now with that out of the way, let's move on to the video. Have you seen that evil Alice in Wonderland game at Best Buy? That was how I was introduced to it, a game that would stay with me for years after. I had no idea what the person was talking about at my high school in the AV room. I was there frequently teaching myself very early 3D programs like Lightwave. Let me know if you actually use that or even heard of it. A friend told me about a game cover of Alice where she had a knife and there was a thin cat next to her. I was intrigued, and the next time I was at Best Buy, I wandered to the computer game department and found the box. That was when I was introduced to American Mcgee's Alice. In this video, I want to simply talk about my love of this game and the impression it left. There are a lot of video essays that analyze the story, and I absolutely love all of them. This video is mostly an appreciation for the art that was this game. I feel like I should mention I was not and still am not really a PC gamer. I do console games mostly and reserve my computer for animation and editing. This game, however, as soon as I saw it, I needed to play it. I was gripped by the image, the stark red background, the haunting stare of the character, the hand on a knife. It was unapologetically dark and I was obsessed. I went online wanting to learn more. It was early 2000 and my home internet at the time was dial-up. I still recall going online to the Alice website and finding a countdown page. It was a music box, a child singing in the background, a terribly broken tune looping as the box threatened to open. It was haunting and perfect. I'd come home from school, and for the short moment while I was the only one there, I'd go to the site and let the strange tune play through the house. At the end of the countdown, the box opened to reveal a decaying baby doll head. All this, I should say, is from memory and may be distorted by time. I unfortunately can't find any images of the countdown page. I try to find it every now and then, but still no luck. Now this stirred something in me, to see that page come to life. It was the early days of the internet, the time of MySpace, so the site was crude by today's standards, but it was the most amazing thing to me at the time. I leave it open on one of the computers while I was in AV at school. Friends would come and we'd watch Alice move, sitting up from her seat, marveling at her blade, dusting off her dress, and of course, take time to show anyone the trailer. I remember this time of being a teenager, entering adulthood, feeling misunderstood, anxious, scared, and losing myself in music of Garbage, Poe, Crystal Method. Alice fit right into the aesthetic of everything I saw at the time. If Wednesday was the goth friend saying and liking macabre things, Alice was the older teen sister, anger of the world and ready to scream at it with you. She was grunge, she was dark, she was frightening and wonderful. I couldn't afford the game, but I could afford the soundtrack. I ordered it from Amazon, a site that was also in its early days at the time. I hadn't ordered much from that site, but I needed this. I'll always remember when the email alert came. My package had been delivered. There was a storm that day. Now I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and when we have storms, it looks like the world is ending. The sky was dark, the thunder was loud, you had to get inside. I came home and went to the mailbox. The seedy shape of the package nearly made my heart stop. I knew what it was, but holding it felt like an achievement. I listened to that music daily. Now, so you know, I didn't just admire this game from afar. I did get the game for my birthday one year. I had talked about it so much that it was almost certain my mom would remember. It was the first computer game I owned. I was terrible at using a keyboard for games and couldn't get through the first few levels without a huge amount of struggle. It was a lot of getting used to, and I loved it. From the opening cinematic, the menu screen, the sound of the bell when you start the game, it was exactly what I wanted. At the time, I couldn't think of another game like Alice. It felt tailor-made for people with my mindset. A frightful game with a deep story and a character I immediately identified with. At a time where games had very action-oriented goals, Alice gave a backstory of an asylum, even coming with a patient log for Alice. All of it detailing the terrible fire, her mental state, and the struggles she was going through. The best part of this was that I wasn't alone in my admiration. You could walk into Hot Topic and Tower Records and be greeted by a large Alice statue modeled from the box art that captured my imagination from the start. I wanted to see more of this character. I dreamed of seeing a movie someday, and it almost seemed like I would get my wish. In the early 2000s, there was news that a film was being developed of Alice with Wes Craven directing and possibly Natalie Portman or Michelle Gellar playing Alice. Part of me hoped for an animated film with the original voices, but I was still gripped by this news. At the time, I didn't consider myself a horror person, which feels weird to say now, since I think I've always been one. I didn't really seek out horror films and avoided gore, but I wanted Alice to be a disturbing and imaginative experience. I wanted to be scared watching this while feeling for the main protagonist and wanting her to reclaim her mind. In a world where this film went the way I hoped, people would have movie nights today of Midsummer, Pearl, and Alice. It would be a film that would take you somewhere you were afraid to go but couldn't look away from. But then, I heard the movie wasn't happening, and the news of Alice stopped. I never stopped thinking about that macabre girl and her journey through a tattered land of her mind. I listened to the music, revisited the game, and I also drew her now and then. I also still dreamed of seeing a film someday and would imagine who would play her. For a while, I kept seeing Emma Watson as the character, but also still liked the idea of an animated Alice. Then, one day, watching Attack of the Show on G4, I saw the most unexpected image. Alice was coming back, and this time, she would be on consoles. The thrill was still great, and as soon as the trailer came out, I immediately shared it with everyone. I was quick to buy the game when it came out, and it was wilder than I could have hoped. A gripping story with tragedy, beautiful animations, and moments that sent a chill through me. The kind of chills that made me pause the game and take in what I was seeing. The sight of a monstrous train rampaging through Wonderland was a gift. The way Alice's mind would unravel things was mesmerizing. Seeing life in London through her eyes and getting more of the history of the character and the twist of the Red Queen's identity, it was perhaps the only game that really pulled me in fully. I love games like the Arkham series, BioShock, Horizon, Silent Hill, and so on. Alice, to me, felt like something more. I wasn't trying to save a city or save someone. I was playing to help retain someone's sanity. The fascination with this character and world was just as alive as when I first saw all of it. I bought the art book and still go through it and use it as a bit of inspiration if I have a creative block. I carried my love for the character all the way to my work in animation. I even built a stop-motion puppet while I was working on Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio film. A character who I was so taken by in high school now stood on my desk. All this is to say that this take on Alice Little and her fantasy world has had a great influence on me. I was prepared to continue following the story, and I'd hoped to someday see her find her way to the big screen and have a final story where she would come to peace with all that happened to her. Now, if you haven't heard, American Mcgee announced that a third game isn't happening. EA Games has no interest in continuing the franchise, while at the same time, they won't let another company develop it because it's very important to their lineup. Studio execs are really frustrating at times. The news that the tale of Alice is not going to continue is devastating. It's troubling to see so many stories be brought to an abrupt end, for finales to never be given and answers to questions to be lost forever. There are a lot of stories that I believe deserve to be told, but we're constantly given entertainment that's simple, easily digestible, with nothing to say except to reference nostalgia and trend online. It's hard to find something that you can connect with, something that you need a moment to think about that after you've seen it, something that gets you emotionally. These things are found mostly in the passion projects of creatives, the projects they pour so much into and want to present to the world. The projects that are not just made with earnings in mind, but also how you'll connect to the audience. I think these projects are important. They push us to look further in and to question how we connect and interact with a story. Too easily, these types of ideas are thrown aside now, and it's harder for anyone to finish a tale they wanted to present to the world if it doesn't fit with what a studio algorithm says. It may be a dark time to be a creator right now, but I'll remember the stories that I connected with. The ones that hit an emotional part of me and made me stop and think about a new perspective on life, fear, depression, joy, and how I connect to things. Alice is one of those stories that did this for me, and I just want to say thank you to American Mcgee and the Alice team for taking me and many others through a wonderland that reached into our very soul. If you played the game, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and please subscribe for more animations and video insights on film and the industry. Thank you for watching.